Namaste. Namaste to all of you. When I say namaste, it symbolizes that you and me are one. It's a symbolic greeting gesture. You and me are one. And you means I am referring to the soul within you. And me means again soul within me. So you and me are connected through souls. Well, when this kind of union happens, when your soul and my soul comes together with a karma bhumi at the bottom, the planet Earth, and then we are pointing out both the palms towards up, pointing upwards. That means we are also getting connected with Paramatma. It is not only your Atma and my Atma, but also we are also getting connected with Paramatma. When you do so, with your Atma, my Atma, then Karma Bhumi, the planet Earth, and then the divinity up, there's a beautiful triangle that forms. And the space between this triangle is what is called success space, a beautiful space. A space where everything is possible. It's all possibility domain. Infinity is the word for that space. If only you and me and the planet Earth and the divinity gets connected in a triangular shape with a beautiful space called possibility space. And this greeting is such a profound greeting, and this connects everybody instantaneously. This greeting we have taught to the world now. Because of the social distancing, because of the kind of phobia we have about this COVID, people are scared to come nearer. They are kept at distance. And that is the time when you are greeting anybody, you don't need to hug or do cheek kissing or shake your hands. The best way out is namaste. As a teaching faculty, as a teacher, I have been teaching this for the last so many years to youngsters. The best way of greeting is namaste, where you have that beautiful connection with each and everybody instantaneously. So with this brief introduction about greeting you all with namaste, let me take you for a prayer, the prayer for Ganesha. Ganesha is said to be a universal God. Rather, he is said to be a secular God. He is a God for all of us. Whenever you venture into a good project, a meeting like this, you need to invoke Lord Ganesha. And today, in the all religious prayers, somehow we could not include the prayer for Ganesha. That is the reason I feel there is a great need for me to render this prayer for Ganesha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurube Deva Sarvakaryesu Sarvada. So we are invoking Lord Ganesha and praying that there should not be any hurdle, Nirvignam. So with this prayer, and also there is one more Islamic prayer where Ehdanis Siratal Mustaqima Siratal Lazina Anta Alayhim Ghairil Maghzubi Walayhim Walazzalim. That means, O Almighty, lead me to the right path, not by the path of those who have gone astray. So today, all of us, in spite of this pandemic, we are coming together. We are a group of satsangis. We always believe to be together. This oneness, the oneness feeling, the school of ancient wisdom has created with the blessings of Ma Manize, we always feel a united family. So that's what we are seeking, coming together, the right path, the right people. And also there is one more prayer, because I need to highlight, because during the course of my presentation, I'm going to use words. Now I request the Aniket to put that first slide, please. First slide. Aniket. Ravi, put the first one. Yeah. Well, the topic is very clear. I want you to go for the second slide now. Second one. Yeah. Second one, please. There's the first one. Say, yeah. Say, my presentation is through words. And these words should reach your mind. Though the words are emanating from my tongue, reaching your ears, it's not a communication between my tongue and your ears. It is a mind-to-mind connection. If at all my words have to have an impact on you, I need to use very profound and effective words. For me, every word looks so profound, so great. And one beautiful thing is, when you are using words, the first thing is, you should be aware of the meaning of the word. First thing, fully in-depth meaning. Second is, you should utter those words with a very good tone. If it is a prayer, you have to vibrate it. Like what we do, Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tassa Viturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. See how beautifully it is vibrating. The same way, there is one more prayer which really heals us, that it goes like this. Achyuta Ananta Govinda Nama Ucharana. Achyuta means permanent, unchangeable. Achyuta Ananta Sarvavyapti, found everywhere, all pervasive. Achyuta Ananta Govinda means God, divinity. It could be Allah, it could be Krishna. Achyuta Ananta Govinda Nama Ucharana. Ucharana means not that smarana silently. Ucharana, you have to, with a good voice, with a lot of vibrations, you will have to render it. And then this profound mantra or prayer will have an effect on your psyche, onto your mind and your body, and to your soul. So, Achyuta Ananta Govinda Nama Ucharana, Ahara, Vyayama, Vihara, and Vyavahara Samatulana. What is that I am trying to narrate here is through words. First thing is the food. If at all you want to be healthy, happy, energetic, ahara, very, very important. Ahara. Then after ahara, you need to do some physical activity, vyayama. You cannot sit idling all the time. So, ahara, vyayama. Third one is vihara. You have to go out into the greeneries. Feel with the nature, be with the nature. As Madam Manish, they used to see the sky, go around, walk around the trees, hug the trees, talk to the flowers, listen to their songs. So, Achyuta, Ahara, Vyayama, Vihara. Fourth one is Vyavahara. Very, very important. If at all you want to be happy, healthy, and longevity, if at all you want to have this profound effect of your words, you need to have the right Vyavahara. What is Vyavahara? Dealings with the people. Not only with your kith and kin, your family, your friends and satsangis, with everybody. Let it be you are meeting a person for the first time, you are dealing with the person should be soul to soul, with a lot of love, care, thinking of others' interests, needs. That's what I've been doing. Whenever I do that Vyavahara, dealing with the people the right way, I'm able to get the right benefit to me and to the other person also. It's a mutual help happens, the dealings. And all these four, ahara, vyayama, vihara, and then vyavahara, that is dealing with the people, if they are in a samatulana, balancing, then you are assured of very good health, happiness, wealth, abundance. You ask for it, anything. This world, through the divinity, is going to make you access these wonderful things. So when I am using these words, as I told you, they are not just emanating from my tongue and reaching your ears, but it is a mind-to-mind connection that happens. My mind is connecting to your mind. And as I've told you, words, if you see the slide, you find words are like mantras. Words are like mantras. And within the words, you find letters, aksharagalu. Words is pada, letters is akshara. So this word is nothing but a mantra. You take any mantra, any prayer, it has got words. And within the words, you get letters which are said to be mantrikas. They have magical effect. That's why they are called mantrikas. When letters come together, they form a mantra. Mantrikas coming together and forming mantra. And if at all you want to have that magical effect on the listener, not only on the listener, the person who is speaking, he himself should be able to feel the effect on himself, on his soul, on his mind, on his body. If at all you need to generate that kind of a profound influence, then your uttering of words should be proper. Understand the word, deeper meaning, and then utter the word with a lot of vibrations. Like you do prayers, slokas, suras, ayats. Why we do it? Because we want that kind of a divine influence on the listeners. Next slide, please. My talk is going to be very simple, I'm telling you. Very, very simple. It is, I always say, my approach is always common sense approach. I don't want to use esoteric and big words, because whatever words we use, they lead into action. So in order to have effective actions, our words must be understandable, and then we need to vibrate it properly. And today's talk on the influence of soul on health and longevity is a very, very practical spiritual way for good life. What all I am going to talk to you is not a sermonizing. I am not a guru. I am not an expert. I am only ordinary sadhaka. Ordinary sadhaka who does sadhana. When I do sadhana of some of these things, like using words, trying to go to the meaning of these words, and these words emanating actions, and trying to have proper dealing with people, then I get experience, anubhava. This experience knowledge only I am sharing. I am not here to sharmanize. I am only sharing my experiential knowledge with you. I have been practicing this over the years. As the introduction, it is said that right from 1980 onwards, I have been practicing this, like last almost 40 years. With this experience only I am speaking. It is not upadesa. It is not advisory talk. Please remember, I am not an expert. Please, some of you know much better than me. But what all I have been experiencing, I am sharing with you with all humility, humbleness. So please listen to these words. It's not a time waster. I am going to be with you up to 7:30. So what all the words I am going to use, I want you to listen to them very, very carefully. Let my words reach your mind, not just ears. See, this slide indicates Upanishad means The guru and disciple are in close communion. Here, for the present, you and me we are together. Myself on all the something is we are in communion. When we are in communion, the first thing as per Upanishad that happens is adhyapana. Adhyapana means guru instructs, guru giving instruction. I am not a guru. I have already made a mention that I am only ordinary sadhaka, but I am trying to give you some information. So the first thing that happens is adhyapana. Not only here, I tell you, if you look into life, life is nothing but all the time it is teaching and learning situations. With anybody for that matter. You talk to some laborer, you talk to somebody in the market, they are telling you something, you are getting to know certain things. It's a kind of a transfer of knowledge. Let us say you are buying a particular fruit. He says, sir, this variety is better for this season. So you are getting inputs. So there he becomes a guru for me. He is giving some knowledge. So adhyapana agate automatically. I am learning, I am trying to implement it. The second is adhyayana. Once I get adhyapana, teaching, then the second is adhyayana. Adhyayana means people practicing it and trying to learn. Once somebody tells me this is the right way, I am going to learn it and practice it. It becomes a adhyayana, practicing adhyayana after adhyapana. The third thing is, after having been taught, learned, then the third beautiful thing is abhyasa, practice. It's not that you forget everything and be coming back to square one. You need to practice abhyasa. That's why whatever proceedings we have in our satsang meetings, I always say there should be a takeaway from the talk. We need to do practice at home and try to experience its benefit. Abhyasa. Unless you practice this, you will not get to know the benefit of this. For instance, Om Japa. 108 times you need to do Om. It has got profound effect on your body, mind, and soul, and gives you health, happiness, richness, connectivity with the people. The beautiful image was sent today on WhatsApp in the school group. Om, the profound effect of Om chatting. So this kind of abhyasa, then when you do practice and then experience, then what happens? Anusthana, internalize. It becomes automatic. Om need not be done only certain hours. All the time the Om is going on inside you. After adhyapana, adhyayana, abhyasa practice, anusthana, internalize. For instance, you must have seen a lot of youngsters who would watch that film for 3 hours. When they come out of the theater, they will be singing the songs, they're acting like a hero. So because it has already anusthana agide, that is internalized. In fact, a lot of fashions are coming into the market because after 3 hours of brainwash or brain filling, anusthana, that is internalization happens. Immediately they go and buy a product of that kind, a fashion like that. Now the fifth one is Anubhava, experience. With all this learning, practices, internalization, finally you begin to experience its profound effect. Anubhava, experience. You are going to experience. Anubhava, without Anubhava, whatever you hear is of no use. Finally, once you get experience, then when you go through this process, finally, a beautiful thing happens. Anugraha, grace from divinity. You are constantly learning, practicing, internalizing, experiencing, and then finally a beautiful thing happens. Grace. The grace of divinity showers on you because you are becoming a better person day by day by this process of learning, practicing, internalizing, experiencing Anugraha, grace. So you must have heard very often the two words. One is blessings. Another is Anugraha. Blessings, Ashirvada. In Kannada, Ashirvada. Very often blessings are given by elderly people, teachers, parents. The blessings. Whereas Anugraha, that comes from a cosmic source. It comes from divinity. This Anugraha, grace, is a very, very profound, and it is sourced from cosmic. And you will be entitled to receive Anugraha if only you have been following the rules of the game. You have been living a sattvic life. You have been dealing with the right people the right way. You have been honest, loving, caring, always trying to get connected, greeting everybody truthfully. When I say namaste, I definitely wish him the best. Let the grace of God fall on him. In fact, there is one Islamic way of greeting. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum means let there be peace, safety on you. Rahmatullahi, let the grace be there. Barakatuhu is abundance. What a profound greeting, I tell you. It is just like Namaskara. Where in Namaskara, we are forging alliance between you and me and the divinity and the Karma Bhumi, the planet, and creating a space of success where we are getting into domain of all possibilities. The same way, this Islamic greeting has a profound effect. Whenever you greet genuinely, honestly, the effect is felt on the listener and as well as on you also. You are expecting, you are greeting him with safety, the grace and abundance. What else you want? Beautiful. That's the way to get connected to people, but genuinely, honestly. Not with a mind language thinking of bad for him and then formality saying you are trying to greet him. No, that's not going to work. You need to greet it genuinely. Then only the real benefit accrues, and there you get entitled to receive what is called Anugraha. A beautiful thing, I tell you. A cosmic blessing it is. What the blessings people give is the earthly blessings, whereas a cosmic blessing where you are assured of everything. With or without, you will be happy, healthy, abundance, everything happens. Next slide, please. See, let me go into the details of Anugraha because it has got relevance to what I have proposed as a topic, soul's influence on health and longevity. And in order to ensure that, we need to get this grace. Anugraha means blessings, benediction, and grace. Whole universe works in a kind of synchronicity, conspiring to bring disparate forces into one kind of totality in an innovation or in nirvana. It cannot be expressed in words or transferred like tangible. Well, this grace is not tangible, but its effect is felt. When I say you are wonderful, that wonderment, whatever it is, not tangible, but its effect is felt on you. You begin to feel happy about it. This Anugraha, so intangible, very often anything which is not visible, intangible, we dare to neglect. We neglect it. That is the reason we are not getting Anugraha. See, God's job is always to send you Anugraha, grace. I am telling you, whether it is a good person or a bad person, whether you are a sattvic or whatever role you are playing in life, you are a good or a bad, a lot of new meanings are coming to goodness. They say, good is bad for greatness. All kinds of, the new good is bad. Whatever role you are playing, the grace is always showered by the divinity, I tell you. Whether you are a good or bad, no differentiation. God never differentiates you. Whether you are a good or bad, God is always showering not just sending, showering like a downpour. But unfortunately, those who are not aligned with the cosmic intelligence or cosmic sources, not aligned to good life, not aligned to be good and caring others with love and care, honesty, they always have a kind of a invisible umbrella over them. All those categories of people, negative-minded people, they always carry a kind of an invisible umbrella, and that umbrella will not allow the grace to fall on them. Whereas those who are living a sattvic life, good people, they are always getting drenched in grace. I'm telling you. This I have experienced. By our good deeds, we are drenched in grace. With bad deeds, we are covering up in such a way that an umbrella, which is it's a non-visible umbrella, and trying to avoid this grace. But through worldly deeds, sometimes they may succeed. But ultimately, the grace triumphs. And the grace, when it works on you, it is going to bring in all kinds of forces. Magically, things will happen. Whenever I approach somebody, whenever I go for some work, whenever I take up a mission or a project, there are a lot of forces that are waiting to help me. I always tell, if at all you want to accomplish anything, try to seek the help of angels. Heavenly beings. For me, angels are you and me, anybody. When I go with a good intention of trying to do something good to myself and to the others, automatically help pours in. Angels will appear. I am looking for somebody, I am looking for some place. Angels will appear before me. I have seen it happening. Absolutely no doubt about it. So when they appear and start helping you, that's where through them the grace is happening to you. You have been thinking all the while, maybe it's a little difficult thing, but still with faith in divinity, with your goodness, you always believe, yes, ultimately, hum honge kamyab ek din. Why ek din? Every din, every day. Hum honge kamyab har din. If only you access this beautiful thing called grace, which cannot be expressed or which cannot be made tangible. But beautiful synchronicity happens. Everything comes in place. Yesterday, I got a message that my tenants are going to leave my premises. And I was a little bit shaken because I am not going to get any funds. I don't have any pension. I don't take any money from my children. So I was a little shaken. But with all the faith in myself and my divinity, well, today, those who are planning to leave, they asked me, sir, can you give us some alternative plan? I told them, well, you are leaving my place. I am, of course, worried, but still I want you the best. I'll give you alternatives. I gave them alternatives. Then they said, sir, your place is best. We don't want to leave. Your whatever alternates are not that good because desperately you are trying to get. So today, everything fell into place. They said, sir, we'll love to stay back, whatever may be the situation. Try to give us some relief in between. I said, okay. I want people connected with me to be happy. That's what I told them, and today everything fell into. These are all beautiful things one has to experience. Any number of lectures I give, it's not going to help unless and until you experience. You have to allow your goodness to work for you. You have to allow your soul to work for you. Very often, we don't take the help of soul. We try to relegate it. We put it back. We don't even think of. But once you give a chance to your soul, and then the soul takes the work of delegation. It does beautiful things. And again, this has to be experienced over a period of time. When you have goodness in you, you believe in goodness of people. I have seen, even with the toughest person, I'm able to get the work done for his sake and for my sake. I always think of mutual help. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. It's not that I want to be successful. No. I always tell whoever deals with me, you should be happy. Let us say when I'm buying some vegetables with a vegetable vendor, I always tell them, I also, of course, inquire about the price. Finally, I say, give it to me at a price where you feel comfortable. You should make some profit. When you give me these vegetables, I should take it home, cook it, and get energy. So next time when I come and meet you, you should be very happy to greet me and give me. And then I'm not going to ask you any rate. You yourself will tell me the bill and I'll pay you. And I believe in that kind of a goodness. And I am presently, because of this city becoming overcrowded, I have migrated to village side. I am in a village very close to airport. That place is Chikjala village, Chikjala, very close to airport. All villagers, I am really enjoying talking to them. Not that I hate city people, no, they are good. But they are so much drowned in material things, they don't allow soul to happen. Always they say, what is there for me in that? But villagers have seen, a poor girl was selling onions somewhere on the roadside in a small shop. I told her, look here, I have forgot to bring a bag. Can you kindly help me with something? I'll return back that bag. Then she took out a very good bag, well-stitched bag, and put that onion in that, and then she gave it to me. Then I said, tomorrow, please take it from me. I'm going to return it. Then she said, uncle, don't bring it back. Take it with you. No problem. See? Whereas in city you go, they say, even a paper bag, they charge 5 to 10 rupees, a plastic bag, 25 rupees. In the name of garbage avoidance and all that, plastic, now people have started charging. Whereas this poor girl is free and she tells over that, uncle, please don't bring it back. Then I see divinity is working through her. The grace is happening. The wonderful transaction or the dealing I have with her. It's all goodness. It is a grace. I blessed her. I said, you wonderful, I tell you, so gracious, so kind to me. So that is the subtle way the grace works. Dear brothers and sisters, I want you to experience this beautiful benefit of grace. If that happens only when you start learning from every situation. Every time you are being taught, every time you are trying to learn something, you internalize that. Sometimes you get to know so many bad things. You should be able to censor them. But try to avoid that kind of ambience and surroundings. Try to go to the... But when you start practicing this kind of a sattvic way of lifestyle, then magically you go to the right people, I tell you. Magically you go to the right places. You don't need to hunt for it. I always say, whenever I think of doing something, magically good people come around me. And when they work for me or help me, they are also helping themselves. I always look for mutual help. So brothers and sisters, please, most of you must be experiencing this. It's not this a new thing. Goodness, please remember, it works. It works. Don't lose hope. Don't say this world is wretched. You know, we have got into COVID. You know what is COVID? COVID. What is COVID? Compromise on values. CO means compromise on values. That is what is happening. Can I cheat? Can I put down the other fellow? Can I rob? COVID. Compromise on values. And what is ID? Indifference to divinity. They say, divinity, I am not bothered. I am indifferent. This God, I don't know. He is only helping rich people. No, that kind of indifference. You don't have faith at all. Only out of fear you go to a temple or a mosque or a church where you do a ritualistic way of prayer rendering. It is only lip service. I've seen in Hindu culture, no, we have Sanskrit. These mantras are Sanskrit. How many people are aware of these mantras, the meaning of mantras? When you stand before Ganesha, you say Vakra Tunda, Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Sarva Karyesu Sarvada. How many people understand this? In the same way, in Islamic prayers, we have Arabic. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. How many people are aware of the meaning? That's why these Sanskrit slokas, Arabic things, they are not working out of the psyche of the people. Because of this kind of lack of understanding, there is no adhyayana, there is no abhyasa, there is no anusthana, there is no anubhava, and there is no grace. Because they are not able to understand the words. It's all given by age sisters, we simply follow them. So that's why any prayer, if you are not able to understand the Sanskrit or Arabic, better to say, God, oh God, I'm going to talk to you in my own language. I'll tell God, whether it's a Kannada, Devare Sahaya Madi, oh Almighty Allah, mujhe madad kar, bas, help me God. I want to do a good thing. I want to take care of myself, my family, my people around me, my people in this country. Make a simple prayer. It's not that you need to only utter Sanskrit or Arabic, whatever it is. Let us be very, very honest, realistic. Let us not cheat God. Simply I uttered these verses or mantras, God is not going to be pleased. God is not going to be enchanted by that. He will see whether you have understood, whether you are going to do the practice of these things in your day-to-day life. That's what God is going to see. If that is not happening, there is no grace. Any number of coconuts you break, any number of times sijdas you do namaz is not going to work. So the grace happens, the divine source from divine source, only when you have a right way of learning the practice, anubhava, and then finally this grace will descend on you. Next slide, please. Now, right from the days when I joined the School of Ancient Wisdom, when I say School of Wisdom, I joined school as a student. In 2005, I went as a student. I wanted to attend a program on Kriya meditation. I went to Ram Menon sir, who is the present managing trustee. I told him, sir, I want to attend. So I paid the fee. Then that time, Madam Manize at her residence, I went to her flat somewhere in city, and she was having her lunch. The first thing she told me is, after seeing me, please come and have lunch with me. I said, Madam, my wife is waiting at home. Very kind of you, the right time you have called me, but maybe next time I'll come and have lunch with you, Madam. Then I went to the school next day as a student. And after that, no looking back. The very first day, Madam Manish, I told, you are part of the school. And that kind of a beautiful connection happened. I never designed, I never aspired. I was just wondering, what is the School of Ancient Wisdom? And then finally, when I went there, it is a heaven on earth. Such a beautiful blessings happened to me. In fact, I would say that is the grace happening through the divinity on me. Because I was longing for a place like this where there is no gurudom, there is no hierarchy, there is no prejudice. Everything is so open. Everybody was guided right way. Everybody has the right to feel the part of the school. There is what is called inclusiveness. Everybody was included into the fold of Madam Manize. There is no exclusiveness. While I find everywhere there is exclusiveness, there's the guru, chelas, and all kinds of sishyas, they dominate. But here there is nothing like that. Never Madam Manize said she is a guru. No. She's an ordinary. She said, I am with you people. I am also in the process of learning. Such a beautiful grace happened to me. And that is the place I was looking for. And then cosmic source synchronized the whole thing automatically. I was led to that place. I was led to that place. And that's what I call grace. When you're longing for a right thing with a right purpose, with a right intention, or honesty, integrity, then the right things will happen in your life. So, right from that time onwards, Madam Manize, whenever she used to give talks, I used to go into a state of trance. I used to automatically decode these mantras. Soul is a mantra for me. It has got SOUL mantrikas. I developed this habit, and of course, I shared with Janaki Ramji also. We both used to very often decode these words. For me, soul is, if you look into the meaning, then you get to know what is soul. Why we are decoding? Because we wanted to get the deeper meaning of the word soul. Deeper word soul. S stands for source, O for off, U for un, L for unlimitedness. Soul has got unlimited potential, infinity. That is the kind of soul. If only you ask, you take the help, you beat, and you need to empower your soul in order to find that kind of unlimited potential, unlimited help that it is coming to you from soul. In the last slide, I am going to talk about how to do the empowerment of soul. Having understood soul is a source of unlimitedness. Unfortunately, we are not paying attention. It is relegated, not delegated. We never listen to soul. We don't empower. You may wonder how to listen, how to empower. Should I sit in meditation hours together? Should I sit before a deity and keep on japa? No. Well, if you have time, you can do it. But we, the mortals, the two living in cities, we don't have time even to take bath leisurely. Sometimes we don't find time for meditation, japa, reflection. So what I do is, I always tell people, why don't you allow your soul to work with you? When you are taking bath, let the soul be with you. When you are going out, traveling, driving a car, working with your colleagues, let the soul work with you. When I say, so let the soul work with you. Be good, be kind, loving, caring. Think of others' welfare. Don't curse. That's where the soul is working there. If you start yelling at people, cursing, trying to punch people, telling lies, dominating, and you are trying to make it everything exclusive to yourself, not allowing others to participate, then such people are said to be soulless people. Soulless. There are a lot of people who have doubting souls. I have seen a lot of people. The moment somebody comes to them, they always doubt why this fellow has come. Has he got any intention? They are said to be doubting souls. Soulless people, doubting souls, and wicked souls. They always show their temper, try to create phobia, fear. They live by creating fears. And such souls, unfortunately, they are not empowered. They are not using the power of soul. Souls are covered with lot of dust, clouds. That's why soul is helpless. If you are doing demonic things, wrong things, soul is helpless. Because while creating humans, divinity has given three beautiful things. One is he has given us a beautiful body, which is said to be an instrument of your soul. Doing instrument. Your body is a doing instrument. Whereas your mind is thinking instrument. So God has given this beautiful body as an instrument. And the second thing is, He has given you free will. Whether you want to do a good or bad thing is the free will to you. With your intellect, with your proper thinking, then you need to resort to good or bad. It's given. So that's why varieties of souls you come across, I tell you. But don't blame your soul. Soul, I tell you, as a matter of fact, there's no bad person. As a matter of fact, there is no dirty or devilish. Everybody is endowed with a beautiful soul. But when you allow the soul to work for you, When you empower the soul for you, what happens? The soul is working for you. It will make you do good things. The divinity within you always guiding, guru within you, that is the soul, is always guiding you, I tell you. It tells you what is the right thing to do at the right place, or going to a right person, it guides you if only you allow it. And those devilish, those who commit wrong things, go into wrong things, they always try to snub the soul. It's all covered with negativity. That's why soul is there, helpless. So, we can't say anybody good or bad. It is all souls playing. You allow the soul to play, you are the divine being. I guess. You don't allow, then unfortunately, devilish things will happen. Next slide, please. Well, once you allow your soul to work for you, I tell you, health is so automatic. I always tell people, being healthy is your privilege. You can't fall sick. You can't afford to fall sick. God has given such a beautiful body, a doing instrument, beautiful body, thinking mind to which you can plan and do things, and a beautiful soul to guide you. And in order to function effectively, health is always assured. I'm already into almost getting into 70, 75 years. I try to manage my own healing. Very rarely I may fall sick because of the surrounding, the environment, the polluted. Otherwise, through the grace of God and the blessings of elders, I try to be healthy all the time. Health is assured. When you have to do so many things, there is a purpose in your creation. God has a purpose in creating you. And that's where the soul ensures your health. And again, I decode this health, highly efficient, I tell you. If you know how to manage your body with the guidance of soul, with the right food habits, sattvic way of living, sattvic way of thinking, then the body becomes highly efficient. Even the latest gadgets cannot work on par with humans. Robots, they can't match with humans' performance. Always loving. I tell you, if at all you want to be healthy, always love yourself, love others. When you see yourself in the mirror, start loving it. You must have seen a latest ad where the lady is seeing her image in the mirror and saying, oh, what a beautiful, oh, wonderful. See, that is self-appreciation. And also appreciate others, love others. It is also said when you appreciate yourself, appreciate everybody. Somehow for the last 15 years, I've been going to more than that, to the School of Ancient Wisdom. My appreciating, greeting, namaste, appreciation starts from the gate. The security there, first thing is I say, namaste, how are you doing? I try to greet them. I start using loving words. First, after seeing them, I smile. I feel very happy that they are being recognized for their job at the gate. Then I go around, then I find a lot of workers working there, cleaning the place. I take it as a point to greet each and everybody. Well, I thanks to Madam Manisa for this. She used to do this very often. I have seen her sitting with her hours together. Whenever somebody comes to serve her, help her, she used to say, thank you, beta. Thank you. Invariably, I tell you, she will never forget, however busy she is. Even in a big meeting, she is there, somebody brings tea, food and all that. She say, thank you, beta. How are things? Aapne khana khaya? She will ask, did you eat food? What a lovingly she used to operate, mother. And that's why she is able to manifest such a divine place. Heaven on earth, I tell you. That is a beautiful thing. Always loving. And when you do so, what happens? No. This will lead to healing. See, Dr. Hegde, B.M. Hegde must have heard. He says, all the cells in the body, they love each other. They try to help you. When there is some problem in the heart, the other cells will take care. When there is some problem in the liver, the other cells will try to help out. If only you have that faith and kind of a confident, sattvic way of living with a natural, I have told you already, ahara, vyayama, then vyavahara, and all these principles if you follow, these cells, they love each other so much, you are bound to be healthy. Not only that, when you start loving others, this group of cells within your body, the millions and trillions, they begin to feel, God, there is another body with cells. They have a mutual loving. But when you start hating, cursing, abusing, these cells within your body feel very strange. How come the cells of the other body are being abused? That's why hatred will have a lot of negative effect on you. When you hate somebody, when you talk ill of others, when you harm others, you are harming your body, your cells. The cells will get subtle message that this fellow is playing a double game. And also, not only double game, but also he is harming his own cells. He indulges in all kinds of food which is not healthy to the body. Tamasic food. Then he resorts to drinking, smoking. That's where he's damaging the cells instead of loving. How do you love cells? By having the right dinacharya, the right way of living, right eating, right food, right thoughts, even the brain cells. If you put right thoughts into the brain cells, do wonders. There is nothing like dementia. There is nothing like all kinds of mental diseases happening nowadays, all because of the complications we create by the element of hate. So if at all you want automatic healing, that is possible. If only we start loving ourselves, whatever food we are eating with all love and care, blessing the person who has done the cooking. If at all you are forced to cook, do it with loving. Of late, because of this COVID, I am doing a lot of cooking. I have become a good expert. I start putting my own food. And then I feel so happy. My God, this cooking is such an easy thing. Somehow you are feeling it's a very complex thing. Now I have learned the art of cooking, but with a lot of love, not with cursing. What is this? I can't get food from outside. I can't eat it. Nobody is cooking for me. Because myself, my wife, we are aged. So I tell my wife, don't worry, I will do the cooking, no problem. If you want to go to your son's place, go it. I will manage. With a lot of passion, with a lot of love, do that. That leads to health. Next slide, please. Longevity. Now, coming to longevity, living on New Year goals, very, very important. Another 5 minutes, I'll try to wind up, 5 to 10 minutes. Living on New Year goals, then empowered vision, intuitiveness through yoga. If at all you want to have longevity, very, very important aspect of my talk. The soul should have goals, profound job. Then the soul feels a necessity to be there in your body. And with your sattvic way of living, you are getting empowered, and then in turn you are getting the vision and intuitiveness from your soul. And also through yoga. Yoga means not just doing physical exercises. Yoga means connectivity with yourself, with your body, with your soul, with your fellow beings, with your God. That's what is yoga for me. When you have this course of thing, the longevity is assured. Well, there are some exceptions, like mathematician Ramanujam, Swami Vivekananda, some of these great personalities, they left their body very early, at the age of 35, 40. I've seen great men leaving their bodies so early. And it looks very, very strange, mind-boggling. But I realized later, after carefully observing, when that the body, whatever is expected to do, some people do such an advancement. They accelerate everything in such a short span of life. They fulfill all the purpose of your creation of their body. When the soul feels the body has done all the job, then the soul decides to leave. If at all you want to have longevity, not that you are purposely trying, but when you have a profound, I have seen number of people, even after retirement, I have seen a person at the age of 60, he retired, but even now he walks around, takes food, he is almost close to 100, has a profound job of writing books, is so healthy, much more healthier than me. God bless him. The body, The soul feels that this body needs to survive for some more time. Now, last slide, please. Last slide. Yeah, empowerment of soul. This is another beautiful thing. Well, this program is getting recorded. Some of you can listen to this later and you can note down these points. These are a very simple common sense. Loving self, I tell you. Appreciate self. The doors of opportunities will open like anything. When you love yourself, the body cooperates with you, it does wonders. So loving self, loving others, helping self. Uddharen atmanatmanam. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Though I have taught you 18 chapters in Kurukshetra, it is you have to help yourself. Whether you want to lead the war or you want to fight a righteous war, it is left to you. Uddharen atmanatmanam. That is, help yourself, then help others. Choosing right things. Choose right things. Choice. That's what Janikaram's pet word, choice. Life is nothing but your choice making. And then when you make a choice, you should choose to receive. Let us say you make a choice. You want to experience abundance. You want to experience health. That is your choice. Then you have to work for it. You have to do exercises. You have to have sattvic food. If you want abundance, you have to work for it. Then only you will receive. Choose to receive. Are you having the right intentions? When you say Lakshmi Bharam, are you getting up in the early morning and getting into your day-to-day core and keeping the house clean and trying to help others, cooking food, and see, not only for men or women, but also men, then automatically Lakshmi Bharam agata. You should not only choose right things, but you should be able to receive. For instance, if at all you want to listen to this talk, you have to receive it by getting connected to this through ID. Then mindfulness of self and God. For me, God, remembering God is only in the morning or evening or 5 times. No, God is with me always. It keeps me happy. This thought of God with me, be with God, you will be happy and mindful of that. I am mindful of my soul, my God, in every action, whatever I do. Well, it's not that utopian or something I am talking and trying to use big things and trying to attribute it to no, it's my simple experience. I'm an ordinary person. Whatever I do, enjoy every bit of your work, both ordinary and extraordinary. I do everything. I am very passionate about doing ordinary things. Traveling in a bus, sweeping the floor, cleaning the clothes, cooking, washing the dishes, helping the servant. So whenever I get a painter to help my house, I tell him, don't worry, Baba, if you don't get money, I'll be your helper. You do painting, I'll try to get you all the things. You want a brush, I'll get you. You want me to clean the surface, I'll clean it. I'll be your helper. Passionately, I am telling you, passionately, with a lot of interest, enjoying every bit of my work, both ordinary and stuff. I want you to experience this. Not only big things. If you are blessed, you are doing a big thing. You are always well-fed. You are born with platinum spoon. But try to have that passion for ordinary things. Be kind, honest, do job sincerely, and choose a grand mission and purpose. Let it be anything. Let us say you are a cook. Your grand mission is to innovate new dishes, try to offer a very good sattvic food that ensures health. It could be anything. Let it be a big thing or a small thing. You want to help out the School of Ancient Wisdom, do it. You want to help your villages. In fact, I am planning to settle in a village somewhere near Kanakpur after a few years. I want to be the part of the villagers and work with them on the agricultural land, be with the schools, with the panchayat. It could be anything. Grand mission. Then the soul thinks this fellow needs to be living for some more time. He has got a job to do. Look at unlikely places for wisdom. That's what I told you, When I go around, meet ordinary people, I have learned a lot of wisdom. That wisdom, not just knowledge, that comes with interactions with the people, that kind of wisdom. Acknowledge and attribute doership to divinity. Ella samarpa. We are offering everything to God. It is He, through the soul, is working. The bit of God within us, the Noor-e Khuda. So God, we are attributing everything. Then you will be very peaceful. You will not become restless. Even in a failure, you say, maybe God's will is different. Maybe God is expecting some other thing. So whether it's a success or failure, when you attribute it God, not that purposely you say, Inshallah, you say, attribute it to God, forget. No, you have done your best, but still, maybe the God ways are different. There is a delay, not denial. Then laugh heartily for no reason. This the beautiful thing happened to me in the School of Ancient Wisdom. I learned the art of laughing, the laughter yoga. Earlier, I was a very serious person. I never used to laugh. Laughter never used to come to me. But then now, for everything I keep laughing. The moment I see somebody, I laugh. Even if they think them insane, I don't mind that. In fact, Shakespearean dramas, if you have gone through King Lear, some of these things, he used to beautifully tell wisdom through clowns and jokers. They're always funny fellows. So heartily laugh, morning hours, see yourself in the mirror, keep on smiling and laugh for a while for no joke, no reason. If somebody asks you, is it your birthday? No, every day is my birthday. I got up in the morning, I am alive. So just laugh heartily. Let it be integrated in your personality and views. That's what is happening. Most of the people who are connected to me, they know, whenever I meet anybody, I do hearty laughing. I'm not a nuisance, but still in a very decent way, I try to laugh, keep myself happy in the other person. Let your prayers be inclusive for self and others. That is very important. Always pray for yourself and others. Always, I tell you. Your prayers are answered very well if you pray for others too. And finally, the way we wind up our talks is by this beautiful statement, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for all the people who are participating in this meeting. Thank you for the organizers. May God bless us. May God richly bless us all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very kind of you for participating in this meeting. May God bless you all. Thank you.